if we're given a line segment AB, then the perpendicular bisector is, well, we can think of it as an infinite line that is perpendicular to the line segment and it passes through the midpoint. But actually, that's not the definition. The definition is a set of all points in the plane equidistant to A and B. Remember that a circle has a similar definition. It's just there is just one point and one fixed distance, as opposed to here in the line segment, the perpendicular bisectors, every point there creates an isosceles triangle. So this one, because these two distances are equal to each other, but not to a fixed number. Now, a circle is the set of all points equidistant to a fixed point. And that point is called the center of the circle, and that equal distance is, of course, the radius. One of the easiest consequences of these definitions is the fact that the perpendicular bisector of any chord in any circle will contain the center of the circle. And that's because if we take the endpoints of the chord, line segment AB, and we take the perpendicular bisector, then, well, the center of the circle is at the radius distance from both A and B. Therefore, it has to be contained on the perpendicular bisector. So one of the first and easiest construction problems is you're given a circle and you have to construct the center. Basically, you just pick two chords, try to make them not parallel, and then where the perpendicular bisectors intersect each other, that's where the center of the circle has to be. Okay, but there is something else that's very interesting about the perpendicular bisectors. So suppose we have a triangle ABC. And so suppose that ABC is any triangle, and we draw in the perpendicular bisector of two of the sides, AB and BC. So L1 is the perpendicular bisector of line segment AB, and L2 is the perpendicular bisector of side BC. And let P be. All right, and now the fun begins. The point P is the intersection point of the two lines, but we can also think of it from the point of view of the point which sits on two lines. Well, P sits on L1. Now, L1 was a perpendicular bisector of line segment AB, and that means that the distance between the point P and A and the point P and B are the same. That's what the perpendicular bisector does. Every point on it does that. So the distance between the point and A is the same as the distance between the point and B. Well, but that's not the only line that P sits on, right? P also sits on the perpendicular bisector of line segment BC. So what that means is that the distance of P from C and from B are the same. And then see, the blue line equals to the blue line. The blue line is identical to the red line, which equals to the other red line. So what we have, these three line segments are all equally long. And that has two consequences, pretty interesting ones. Three lines in the plane can do all kinds of things, including something like that. But if you look at this picture, the distance between the point and A and the distance between the point and C are equal to each other. So what that means that if we were to draw in the third perpendicular bisector, that too would have to contain P. So in fact, the three perpendicular bisectors of sides of a triangle don't do this. They intersect each other at a single point. That's one consequence, which is sort of interesting. The second one is that looking at the situation again from the point of view of P, from P, all three of A, B, and C are at the same distance. So if we make P the center of a circle with this radius, that circle will contain all 3 points. And we didn't use anything about the triangle. So every triangle has this unique point where the perpendicular bisectors intersect. And that is always the center of the circle containing all three vertices, which is sometimes called the superscribed circle and also sometimes called the circumscribed circle of the triangle. It's unique. It always exists and always unique. And it's one of the first kind of cool construction problems, because the first thing that we learn how to construct is the perpendicular bisector. So given a triangle, construct the circumscribed or superscribed circle is kind of a fun exercise. I'm going to do it in, you can fast forward, but it's a fun construction problem. We're going to construct the unique circle that contains all three of these points. How are we going to do that? We're going to construct the perpendicular bisector for two sides, and their intersection point is going to be the center of that circle. So let's do this one. Doesn't matter which two. So I'm not drawing in the whole circle because that would make the picture cluttered. Just the part that I know we're going to need to use. All right, it should look perpendicular. It should look like this is the midpoint. And let's do this one, line segment BC. And this is the center of the circle. Well, let's see. So if I put the needle part of the compass in there and go to, with the other end, go to one of the points, that should work with the other 2 points. Not bad. This is one of the first construction problems. Thank you for watching.